Welcome back to Passing Time with Craig. As always, I'm your host, Craig, and today I am joined with Neil. Hello, Neil.
Hello.
We are here to chat about your show, Horse Warriors. I'm very excited about this. I've been watching clips. I've been reading all about it. I had no idea. I am stoked about this show. The first episode premiered September 2nd on Monday there on Aboriginal People's Television Network, APTN. Yeah, Horse Warriors. I don't even know where to begin. Let's start with, how'd you get involved with this show?
I've done quite a bit of work for APTN, and I was doing a series called Rodeo Nation. And one of our participants, Travis McGuire, said one day, we were shooting with him, and he said, well, I'm going to go do this practice for relay. And I went, oh, well, okay, we're here, let's go. And I just was watching this and thinking, wait, how does this work within a competition? And he explained it, and I thought, I've got to look into this. And when I saw it, I was just blown away and thought, why isn't this a television series? Why aren't we covering this? I know there's been a short film on it, so I thought, let's pitch this. And we went and shot at a race and put stuff together and looked at teams and interviewed people and put together a pitch for APTN, and they said, we like the idea, and here we are.
Yeah.
3.5 or 4 years later. So it's such a long process.
It is, and I think that's something that people don't really realize in television. It's not like we didn't just film something that happened. Usually it doesn't happen that it just happened last week.
Yeah. No, television is, I often tell people, when you have a documentary crew with you, imagine having a grand piano tied to your ass. That's us.
That's the best description.
Everything moves more slowly.
Yeah. That is hands down the best description I've ever heard. And I'm going to make sure everybody thinks about that now.
That's the way because everybody, you'll meet with people and they'll be, okay, let's go. And you go, oh, wait, our sound guy needs to get the microphone on you. Oh, what? Oh, wait, our cameras are getting their lenses checked. They're making sure all of their stuff is up. Oh, wait, I want to interview you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just an easy process. It's not just a point and shoot and let's see what happens. It's not Blair Witch Project.
And once we get going, it works out that way. When they're into their race mode and stuff, we just get out of the way.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about this because getting into race mode here. So this series, Horse Warriors, follows 3 teams. It's 13 episodes long series. This is known as Turtle Island's original extreme sport. So I read that, and then I watched the preview, and I was like, oh, this is an extreme sport. I understand what they mean by this.
Yeah, I know, because you hear extreme sport thrown around a lot these days. Yeah, this one, you can get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, because so you have a runner, a mugger, and a setter, and the runner is
the rider.
The rider, yes, the rider is. The idea of this relay race is that they're riding 3 different horses, one lap around the racetrack each time with the horse, and just immediately getting off the horse, getting onto another horse, and then going.
Yes, jumping off one horse and jumping on. Yes, and that's the big thing too. Bareback. It's incredible. It's really, I tell people too that just when I tell them I'm working on this series, I say, go see a show live. Go see an event live because it's mind-blowing. It knocks your socks off when you see what's going on.
Yeah, it's so impressive, and it's not for the faint of heart. This is a dangerous thing. It's a lot of work because, I mean, if you wanted to take your time on jumping onto a horse, cool. But this is a race.
And for me personally, just getting on a horse, that's pretty stressful.
Yeah. For most people.
For many of us. Just even if I just took the average person and I'm going to put you on this horse, it's perfectly tame. You can even be on a saddle. Many people would just be freaking out.
Yeah.
This one, they are near wild because they need to be racehorses. They're high strung. So bareback on a high strung horse jumping on when many times the horse is reluctant to be there.
Yeah.
because they get excited and they just want to run.
Yeah, they're like, okay, cool, I'll run, but I don't need you on me.
Exactly. So the level of difficulty is tremendous.
What's going to kill you the most if you go too slow doing the race, or just taking your time getting on the horse? I think would just slow you down and kind of screw you up.
You'd lose.
Yeah. So do they start off on the horse, on the first horse, or does it start off on the ground? We say go, and they have to jump onto the first horse.
Depends on the race.
Oh, okay.
Some races, they start on the ground and there's someone holding the horse and they jump on. And then other horses, they are mounted and then they all get semi-lined up and then a horn goes and they start. So it depends. It depends on the individual event.
Right. And yeah, this is something you're following these three teams as they're going through a bunch of different races and tournaments, because it's go down to the States, across the prairies. Yeah. Like this is a thing that these teams kind of have to live and breathe for months, but really all their time, right?
Yeah, they'll go out on the road and then come home and kind of, have a couple days down and then just back out on the road. And sometimes, a team could be on the road for a few weeks at a time before they get a chance to get back home and recharge, and then they're out again.
Yeah, and there can be the trailer itself shows that it's a dangerous. We've acknowledged this. It's a dangerous thing. There's stretchers and ambulances witnessed in the trailer alone. These athletes know that this is a possibility, right?
Absolutely. They've all been wrecked at some point in time. Either run over by a horse or bucked off or, hit by another rider on a horse. Or a horse, sometimes it'll come in and then run through all the other team's boxes. So you could be randomly just struck by a loose horse.
Right. And
which is often the only rule that is universal everywhere is if you lose a horse, you're disqualified.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. If your horse is running free on the track, you lose.
Wow. It's one of those parts or one of those things where the team is the horses and the humans. Like,
yeah, it really is. And they practice a lot with the horses as much as they can. But it all changes when you have an actual race and people in the stands. The energy is different. So the horses know the difference between practice and the race itself.
Yeah.
The energy is palpable at a race and the horses feel it and they get going. We're shooting season 2.
Okay.
And a couple weeks ago, I'm near a horse that was really friendly, like a nice horse. Wizard tried to bite me.
Really?
I went, oh my goodness, Wizard, what's going on? And I remember the trainer said, oh no, that's good. That's a good sign. He's getting ready for the race. And I'm going, oh my goodness.
Okay.
Wizard room on race day.
You practice. They get used to these things and they're in this like quiet big field or whatever it is, or on the racetrack with nobody else around. And then you have thousands of people in the stands and who knows what the weather is going to be like too, and music coming from wherever. It's a whole different experience for that horse.
Yeah, I'm sure the horses, when they're walking out on the track and you hear some DJ playing Hell's Bells as everyone's walking out and you're going, oh my goodness. If this makes me nervous, that horse has got to be here going, oh my God.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. It's like, this is different. Something seems off. I just want to run. So
I'm ready to run and I'll run right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. So what's also I find very interesting about the relay is that males and females competing. It's you don't see that a lot, but I think it's awesome. What can viewers kind of expect for seeing males and females both competing in this and show that obviously everybody's equal?
Generally, there are different events. So you will have women's relay, and there will be the open relay. Women can compete in the open relay. Generally, they'll be riding in the women's relay, which is just slightly different. It's instead of 3 horses, it's 2 horses. But that's basically it. Otherwise it's the same
It's
event.
the same thing. They're still doing the exact same thing, just one less horse.
And one of our participants, Logan Redcrow, she actually did compete against the men a couple of times.
Wow.
And it was really exciting. And she really held her own quite well.
Speaking of the athletes, what did you discover filming them over this course of this 13-episode series? What did you learn things that you weren't expecting to learn about these athletes? Maybe not necessarily with their personal life, but what they have to endure to do this all the time.
Yeah, I just I think I just came to admire just their toughness and their hearts, because they're doing this for very little money. A lot of times, the winnings will go right back into paying for gas or taking care of the horses or upkeep on your truck and trailer. So for me, I guess what I learned was that they really do love just about every aspect of it. And they love, just being with the horses and the training. And I think you have to, because, it's not like pro baseball.
Yeah, where you're getting that
so for me, that's
$1 million salary a year.
Exactly. And they're not. There are some events where there's good prize money, where they do have purses, $100,000 purses, but that's split between all the teams. So the winning team might make $20,000 on a weekend, but those big 100,000 purses are rare. There's only, I think, maybe 3 through the season. Otherwise, it's often a $40,000, $50,000 purses split between often 20 teams.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that when they, obviously the rodeo or whatever it may be, they like to advertise, we have this huge purse, this amount. And of course, you're like, wow, this is really exciting and expensive. This team's going to win this. No, we're splitting it amongst all of them. So yes, it's great. We have this money, 50,000, 30,000 is a lot of money. But when you start splitting it up to everybody, it is, like you said, we're maybe covering our gas and our hotel for the night.
Yeah, exactly. At a rodeo, then the champion bull rider gets 4,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go, wait, what? Yeah. So I was really impressed with how they really toughed it out for the love of the game. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
They do really love it.
That's awesome. And it shows, again, just the footage I've seen of it is they're in it. They're putting everything towards this, and they are going for that race. They're acting as if you're feeling like you're going to win $2 million. Like, you still have to put that same amount of effort and energy into it. But that only comes when you love something, right?
It does. And it's something, I think part of that love comes from the tradition and heritage of it, because it's the sport is really practiced by all the peoples that were kind of plains tribes before the colonizers showed up. So that's kind of, it really spans that area and those people. And so I think that tradition, and that mothers, fathers, grandfathers were all horse people, it comes through.
Yes, and horses are have always been an important part in Indigenous culture, right? Like, they've always been such a special animal. They've always had a connection with them.
Yeah, the plains people for sure, because it revolutionized their way of life, and it's so closely associated with all the teams and all the tribes and all the nations that these riders come from.
Yeah. And so we're 13 episodes. We're traveling around. We're seeing them go to these different places. One of the places is the Calgary Stampede, which is, this world famous. It's huge. It's something the city is so proud of, the province, the country. Everybody in the world knows what the Stampede is. So what is it like for these athletes to get to the Stampede, for example?
They love it.
Yeah.
They love it because, mainly because of the crowds, because, they'll often the events are regularly sold out, but they'll be looking at a grandstand of 5,000 people, 4,000, 5,000, somewhere in there. And the Stampede, it's packed. It's packed. So now I don't know how many that grandstand holds, 25,000?
I think it's 25,000, yeah.
Something like that. And just that energy it's I think, quite addictive.
Yeah.
So they love the energy of the crowd, and it just feels so big time.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you real quick, as a filmmaker, and any of our listeners who, maybe like to make films and want to be documentarian, when it's something like this, where there's a sport, and there's definitely some danger added into it, you as a filmmaker, how hard is it for you not to like just jump in the camera, get so excited and like, woo, like keep yourself reserved, but you're probably getting into it, right?
Yeah, you do. You end up really cheering for the teams you're following. You develop a relationship with them. When our team loses, the whole crew is kind of, they're down a bit. And when our teams win, we're all happy as anything.
Yeah.
We're celebrating with them. So yeah, we do get into it, and we do care about it.
So why is it important for you that this show is now out there, people can watch it? Why is it important for you?
For me, it's important because, I'm AT, and I grew up actually in Red Deer and hung around central Alberta, and I have cousins who were into pony chuck wagons, and we'd often go out, and I remember as a kid, our friends, the Beaches, putting us on yearling cattle and being terrified.
Yeah.
Riding for what I felt like was about an hour, which was probably about 3 seconds before I ate dirt.
Yeah.
And for me, this relationship that they have with the horse, and that this sport is born of this land. It is a sport that comes from the plains of Turtle Island. And it's a sport that really shows the heart and soul of the plains people. And I think it's something to celebrate, and I think it's something that I'd like the whole world to see.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing. I had no idea about it, and now I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so cool. And again, just very impressive. So what can you tell us about the teams that we follow on this season 1 here?
Okay, so we have from Siksika, which is a Blackfoot tribe, or no, Blackfoot First Nation. It gets tricky because when you cross the border, it's tribe. But when you come into Canada, it's First Nation.
Yeah.
So, and with the Blackfoot Confederacy, they've got so many relatives and so many related people that are south of the border.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've got Old Son from Siksika, which is Al Red Crow, his daughter Logan Red Crow, who races, and Racy Big Snake, who's Al's son. And they're all over the place. They're at the Stampede, and they've been. Al is in many ways, I think of him as the godfather of horses in Siksika.
Yeah.
Because he's done rodeo, he's done relay, and there's so many young people in Siksika that look up to Al and have been influenced by Al when it comes to racing. And interviewing him, he's just a fount of knowledge. So we were following Old Son. We also followed along with River Cree Relay, which is out of Enoch Nation. It's just maybe 10 minutes from Edmonton. And they were, for a long time, really one of the top teams in Canada, if not all of North America.
Wow.
And but they're in a rebuilding phase. So in many ways, we're watching them kind of rebuild and get their team together. And that's Levi and Benny and Sarah, and they're really great to follow along with. And Sarah, I have never beeped a participant in a documentary series as much as Sarah.
Yes. Sarah's my type of person.
Sarah has a sailor's mouth for sure. Oh my goodness. And Sarah said, "Oh, should I watch it?" And if she tries to watch herself, she will for a bit and then just forgets. And I went, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
We can beep out the big F words and stuff. Well, we're okay. So Sarah is just great because she's a fireball. When they win or lose, you just can basically look at Sarah and you'll hear sounds that will tell you.
Yeah.
Because she gets mad and she gets happy. And Levi and Benny are more kind of straight ahead, but they can get into it.
Yeah.
And Benny, he got schmucked a couple times during this season where you went, "Oh my goodness, Benny, that horse just chewed you up and spit you out."
Oh, really?
So, oh yeah, because that ambulance that you saw in the trailer,
Yeah,
that was for River Cree.
All right.
And then we had Spearhead, which was really in many ways a two-man show. Well, not two-man because it was with Leon Cardinal and Ty Jackson was the rider, and they would pick up teammates as they went along to different events.
Mm-hmm.
And Leon's wife and daughter were always with them and stuff. And Leon is just such an expressive person. And Ty Jackson is just one of the best riders on the whole circuit. When he would make his exchanges and they work smoothly, thing of beauty. So those are our teams: Spearhead, River Cree, and Old Sun. And we just said, okay, let's start the season and let's ride with you for the season.
Yeah, and how long was the season?
Starts at the end of May.
Okay.
And then ends basically end of September or mid-September.
Oh, so it's several months.
Yeah, it's really spring. Summer's the prime time, and it's kind of spring and then into early fall a bit before the ground gets too hard.
Right. And are the families traveling around with them?
Yeah, they do. Often, moms, cousins, aunties, uncles, there'll be a big group that'll be traveling along with them or coming to the show. So yeah, it's a lot of family basis for it.
And so 13 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Was it where you're like, we could do 13 episodes, or did it become, how are we going to condense this down to 13?
That's a good question. I think it was kind of at the start thinking, okay, are we going to have enough for 13 episodes?
Yeah.
And then by the time we ended, we went, how do we condense this down to 13 episodes? It was for us the kind of riding the fear and then the challenges of making a documentary series.
Yeah.
Because we really follow along and say, what are you up to? What are you doing? And then we go out and capture it. So, we're kind of stuck. We can't really do let's make up some kind of event that they could all take part in.
Yeah.
Because, that's just not, I think they'd all stare at us and go, what? Go to hell.
Yeah.
And I'd have to say, fair enough.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've noticed the past few years especially, we could talk about reality shows, and that's all. There's reality shows, real reality shows, and then there's game reality shows. But the past few years, I've noticed a real increase in docuseries, especially around sports. So, this would kind of fall into that. Why do you think people are really even more so invested into these docuseries?
I think because, number one, and I can speak first to our series, the action is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, the action is dangerous. And then number three, who is doing this? I want to meet them. And then I think the popularity comes from this person just did an amazingly dangerous thing. And now they're going to be basically backstage with their team and stuff. And so to meet them to develop basically a relationship with them where you meet Al and Logan who are trying to figure out what horses they're going to run this weekend, and Racey's in the mix there, or, River Cree lost a rider at the start of the year and they're all trying to figure out where are we going to get a rider. And so that kind of behind the scenes and getting to know people, I think personally, I find it fascinating. I so often will, I can watch the Olympics and, there's a pole vaulter and I'll go, oh, I'd love to see them out for lunch with a friend.
Yeah.
And I really would, because you then kind of say, oh, okay, that, oh, they like Family Guy.
Yep.
And that somehow makes me enjoy them doing their pole vault more.
Yeah.
Or doing their event more.
You get to know them and know what they're really like, and you see what's more at stake, I think.
And you see different situations, and you end up seeing the building blocks. So it's not just, here's the finish, the team does this race, but you end up seeing, oh, that one horse, they weren't even sure was going to be ready this week because it had a sore leg 2 weeks ago, and they were having to make sure it's absolutely healthy for the race.
Yeah.
And you learn that and go, oh, wow, they weren't even sure 3 days ago. And so those kind of things, and seeing those building blocks as you kind of head towards an event, and then what's at stake, you get their emotions and their background. And I think that's what's so fascinating to people.
Yeah, and I think this will be a great series, too, as well, to see the relation of a human and a horse. Like, we don't get to see a lot of that in a lot of series. We see movies, you don't really get to see the importance, as you said earlier, about, like, this horse is a part of the team. If the horse runs off and does its own thing, then you're disqualified. Like, so it's coming together.
We were doing a shoot with Sarah from River Creek, and one horse, not one of the race horses, but one of the horses she just rides around. And she said she got it as a gift, and she said, you know what, this horse is one of the greatest gifts I've ever got in my life. And the horse decided, and then the horse leans over, bites her in the stomach. Oh. And Sarah's like, what? Oh my God, you bitch. And it's so funny. And that's the kind of thing I really enjoy, where not Sarah's pain.
Yeah. Not Sarah's pain. Just asterisk that.
Not Sarah's pain. But Sarah's reaction. And just that, she was loving the horse, and you go, oh, okay, the horses have personalities and moods, and they are just absolutely fascinating creatures in their own right.
Yeah, they definitely are. So what are you hoping viewers and the world's going to take from this series?
I hope that viewers kind of discover an amazing and fascinating sport, and then learn how amazing and fascinating the people are who do this sport.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, and you find a nice balance between episode being race, but also about the race is one thing, but there's also, it's the humans that's behind the scenes of before that race happens or after that race is finding that balance, right?
Absolutely, because we always, we'd look and put together the stories that went along for the whole season, and we'd say, okay, what do we got here where we're getting to know them? And then, oh, well, we better have a race because we want some good action in there. Okay, now let's get to know them. And yeah, you want that balance. You really look for that balance of action and getting to know people. Yeah,
and let's touch on that real quick, is that you film this, you have ideas, and then you have to now go and kind of, I don't want to say write a 13-episode series, but it's kind of, you have to go, all right, now where are breaks between episodes, and what is this team's overlying story that's going to have the whole season? Like, you have all this extra work once the filming's also done.
And, it is writing it, because it's, I guess, writing it in a storyteller recounting what happened. Right. So you have to then go, here are these series of events. How do we tell this story? And so that is the tricky thing, where I often call the documentary process a distillation process. Because you have hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage, and you start to look at it and shape it, and then you pare it down, and you bring it down, and you bring it down, until you have that 22.5 minutes that is your episode. And it is, you squeeze it all down, and it distills, you're distilling what happened out there.
Was there anything that you unfortunately had to cut for time that you're upset about, or did you get most of the things you wanted?
There's lots of things where, when you're working as a team and you have and edit, there's a lot of stuff where you go, oh boy, I would have liked to have spent more time here, but I can't. And, different things that I love or my directing writing partner, Dominique Keller, that she loves. And so, it's always finding that we both of us always lose things that we care for because there's just too much.
Right. First episode's out, premiered Monday, September 2nd. New episodes every Monday. Those listening at home and are like, I'm almost sold on it. What's your final pitch to someone about this series?
If you like any of these things, horses, action, family relations, a little bit of drama in there, watch it.
Yeah, I think there's something for everybody.
I think it's actually a great couples show. Because if one partner just wants action, they're going to be okay.
Right.
And if the other wants a little drama, a little bit of like, Sarah's mad at Benny because he wasn't doing his work, they're going to be happy too. Or Levi's kind of upset that the team screwed up the start. He's going to be mad. I think that kind of stuff, and it fits within the team framework. One other thing that I love about it is a team.
Mm-hmm.
So you have those team dynamics, and the teams are like a family unto themselves. So sometimes they could fight like cats and dogs, but then they're loving each other the next moment. And we know, don't get involved. Be like getting into a family fight. They'll both turn on you.
Yeah. No, don't get involved. Just step away.
We are neutral.
Yeah. Yes, you have to remain neutral, and you have a great excuse to be like, oh, no, I'm neutral right now.
I love both of you. Should I have an opinion?
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, second season is you're in the middle of that filming.
We are. Yeah.
So that's exciting. So, we know that there's more to come.
Will be a second season, for sure, into our last month of shooting on it. So, and there's been amazing stuff happening this season as well. And so it's been new discoveries, and we've got a different team on board as well to kind of keep things fresh as we go. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, I think this is something that can continue for a while. There's always going to be something going on because each race is different each time. You never know what the outcome is going to be. Something crazy could happen. A big storm could appear in the middle of it. Who knows?
Yeah, I often say, it's kind of like NASCAR racing, where they all come in for their pit stop.
Yeah.
Except with relay, the car can just randomly turn and run you over.
So it's NASCAR meeting like a Stephen King book.
Exactly.
I'd watch that. That is amazing. Will we ever see you do a relay?
No.
No.
I'm
no.
Too old. I'm too old and brittle.
No, that's fair.
The teams will go, hey, Neil, you should get on this horse and ride. I'll say, no, buy me an old pony, put a saddle on it, and I'll happily glump along behind you.
Yeah. Or do one of those like supermarket little mechanical horses.
Yeah, one of those. But no, I'm not crazy enough to get on a thoroughbred that can go 40 miles an hour. That's too fast for me on a horse.
That's very fast. And their thought is going like the rider's thought is go fast and get ready to jump on another horse. It just baffles me, and I'm so in awe of this.
Yeah, and the riders they'll talk to the horses, a lot, and they'll shout to the other riders as they're coming up, and sometimes in a good way where they're cooperating, and other times in an angry way where they're mad at them because they cut them off or did something that they didn't feel was right. So it's really great hearing the riders during the race as well.
And are they all mic'd up during?
So the riders are,
okay.
Yeah, and the team.
Okay, so we get to hear that. Ooh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
sometimes we lost a couple of mic packs where it's kind of, oh, where's your mic pack? Where's the mic? I don't know. So we all walk the track. Here it is.
Yeah.
This forlorn Mike Pack and Mike laying in the dirt going, please don't be broken. We're a Canadian documentary. We can't afford a new Mike Pack.
No, you really can't. That's, it's sad but true.
It's true. It's where you're sometimes shooting. They're going, oh, so you're doing a show here, you know? You got money? And you go, no. We are a Canadian documentary. Put those two together.
Yeah.
Don't equal ka-ching.
Yeah, no, not...
And for me, that is not a complaint because, you know, I make enough to get by on it, and I love doing it. So I'm very happy doing this show. I'm delighted.
That is awesome. It tells from just this interview you are so excited about it and you're passionate about it, which is Keto, great filmmaker. This series sounds fantastic. I do want to ask you one of my last questions. I always ask this to all my guests on the show, but what's something that is awesome?
I love when a little kid laughs freely.
Oh, yeah.
A child's uninhibited laughter where they're not worried about what it sounds like or anything. Like the sound, like honestly, like the sound of my daughter's laughing. Love it.
Yeah. That is awesome. That is an awesome answer.
That is awesome.
That is super awesome. Well, that's fantastic. You really just made my day. That's such a cool thing.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Now you're going to go try and you're going to notice if a kid's laughing near you, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. My nieces and nephews, when they do just bring me joy. So whenever they laugh, though I'm feeling really old today because my oldest niece just started junior high. And I'm like, oh, God.
But if Uncle Craig does something really good and then they laugh, doesn't that just like make your candle burn brighter?
Oh, it's fantastic. It brings me so much joy. This has been fantastic, Neil. I thank you so much for this. Horse Warriors.
Thank you.
13 episodes every Monday night at on APTN network. You can also stream it the next day on APTN Lumi, their streaming site. So lots of chances. If you miss it because not a lot of people are home, Monday at 8:30, you've got this opportunity.
In Alberta, Monday 6:30.
Monday 6:30. Duly noted. Fantastic. Thank you, Neil, so much. Congratulations on the series. I hope lots of people get to witness this and watch this because it's so fantastic. And I'm looking forward to the second season as well.
Oh, thanks so much, Craig. I really appreciate you helping us out and your interest.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This has been a pleasure talking with you. Everyone, please check it out, Horse Warriors. You can also find it on social media as well, so you can keep up to date if you forget about it. Social media, Horse Warriors. Thank you, Neil. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for passing time with me. We'll chat soon. Bye.